Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the championship of BattlePoker Summer League. Today we will be casting the last of the 7-week games series. So, today we will be taking a quick look before the game starts at the various players that are involved in this. Starting off with Frosticles. Frosticles had a 4-game #1 win streak for the first 4 weeks of the league, and currently is sitting at the top with the most points, obviously. Next, we've got Burnt, another very well-known player, very good player. He's gotten 3 first-place wins. Looks like a second place and some others tossed in there. Everybody on this has had at least 1 first-place win, and most of them have also had a first place, second places. You know how it works. Very good players involved here. Scaro is the 3rd ranked player, followed by 0-2 and then Mancan. Reach has a 0 on week 4. Same thing with Batted Games and Nemesis. Here's the thing. So these players are good enough that even though they missed a week, they're still able to make it into the championship. That's how good some of these players are. I know that Reach, Batted Games, they all had some... I mean, this is real world stuff we got to deal with. We've got lives to live, so works there. One other fun story for starting out with the, excuse me, I don't know about y'all folks, but allergies absolutely murder me during the summer. One of the fun stories that we've got here was this for the week 6 games. In fact, it was a pair of players on the bubble, as they say. It was Batted Games and Metalcore. So in their week 6 game, it came down to who didn't lose to the Goofman. If the Goofman, as you can see on the runner-up stage, which is the silver color, if the Goofman beat either Batted Games or Metalcore, one of those 2 players would get knocked out of the championship. And unfortunately for Metalcore, the Goofman did beat him in that season 6 game, or that week 6 game. And so he got knocked down to the runner-up table, and Batted Games is now playing in the championship. So that is pretty much the basic rundown of the that first table. Second table, we've got some very recognizable names: the Goofman, Drunk Archon, Killaz, Metalcore. I've played with all these players, very good people, and it's been a pleasure to engage with them in the community, both during the league and during just general pub games. Concordia, are you ready yet?
We are getting ready here. I think I might need another minute. Sorry, everyone. I will also be casting the finale tonight, but we are trying to set up the runner-up table, make sure we have all of our players in. But we could probably start up the main table. I don't want to keep everyone waiting, and tonight might be a little bit longer than usual. So I think if the finale table is ready to go, we could probably start that up soon.
And as was pointed out to me earlier, so if you're familiar with the BattlePoker stuff, I know we've had some weekend tournaments previously. By the way, I'm Lord Dragontree. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'll be casting this alongside this championship table alongside Concordia. Everybody knows Concordia. He's been here forever. But another interesting thing is for this game, we will actually be having 300 gold pots, or I'm sorry, banks. I get my terms mixed up. I don't play poker that much. I just play BattlePoker. So it will be 300 gold to start for each player. I don't know yet. Hey, has the initial ante been changed, or is it all just the standard ante resistance and all that?
I believe we're using the standard antes for this 300 gold game, so it'll be interesting to see how that impacts everything. In our experience running this a couple of times in our weekend tournaments, it didn't actually extend the game length very much. But those could have been flukes. Maybe we will see some hour-and-a-half games tonight. We don't really know, and we can't really tell. It kind of just depends on how conservatively everyone decides to play tonight.
Yep, and we've got some really strong starting hands. I'm seeing 7 battlecruisers and 24 ghosts on a +2/2 Terran run.
Alright, and just wanted to give an update. We are starting up the runner-up table now, so that is getting going, and I'll be able to help focus casting on this game, so that's exciting. Looking forward to tonight. It's going to be great. This has been an accumulation of almost 2 months worth of games with our break and our qualifications to get into the league in the beginning, so this has been a long time coming.
definitely. And we are getting a massive raise to start off with. Burn going with 135 raise. And Reach has called him. Reach being the other player with the battle cruisers, so this should be interesting. Players showing off all their fancy skins. I don't recognize some of them. I'm seeing one of the Warhounds. I don't know what Nemesis is running, or Scaro, but or Reach. Yeah, so definitely some rarer skins in here.
Yeah, we see a lot of players flexing their best and favorite skins for tonight's event. We know Lana's on the line. We have $80 being up for contention tonight. I think $60 for first place and another $20 for second place. So this is definitely a high-pressure match of BattlePoker, if there ever was one.
Definitely. And this is a very close match to start with. Unfortunately, the sheer tankiness of the battle cruisers is going to take care of those ghosts, and those unfortunately the Hellions just suck.
Yeah, we saw the 3-3 with the suited upgrade for Burnt, but 6 battle cruisers are just so powerful. They're one of our S tier units, and we can see why they're just clearing up everything.
Yeah. Now if it had been carriers or Tempest, then those ghosts would have made short work of them. But with the +2/2 going into the battle cruisers as well, there's not enough of an upgrade difference to really change things.
So here on our second hand, we see automatically 3/3 Zerg upgrades on the board. So Burnt is maybe looking at these infestors. 11 isn't the highest count, but with 3/3, I think that definitely becomes more playable. Reach also with 5 Broodlords, so you could be hoping to get something else to help support those units. But not too much else really for our other players looking at the hand so far.
Yep, not a lot for these initial hands at all, or for the initial cards for this hand.
Interesting play. Star raising just one chip, so not obviously a huge raise, but only with 4 zealots. So it's definitely an interesting call. Maybe he's just trying to push people out of the pot. Hope no one really had anything.
Yeah, definitely. And then try to lower things down so that way if his second card is decent, he can try and go with that. But unfortunately, he's not going to get anything because he has no anti-air at all.
Yeah, and again, with those 3/3 Zerg upgrades, those Infestitarians are just going to mow everything down. I honestly don't even think they needed the carriers there, but the carriers were just like the cream on top.
Yep. If the Infestors get off their Marines, they are very, very strong. Honestly, I would say that if the Infestors are probably the strongest single unit in the game next to Purifiers and Ravens, solely for the fact that if they get their shot off, they have more firepower than pretty much anything.
So I just want to clarify, you said Purifiers. Did you mean Void Rays or Disruptors? Because those are the 2 units that can
I play way too much Commander Direct Strike.
So once again, we see some capital ships being dealt. Mancan with the 5 battle cruisers. So you can see him raising 6, seeing if anyone else is going to call or hold here.
Yeah, 02's got the 18 Battle Queens and Battle Queens. We'll call them Battle Queens now. And Reach with the Infestors. So Nemesis 19 wild cards. So those are all very strong.
Yeah, we see so far Burnt calling with the 13 Banshees, 02 calling with his 18 Queens, Reach calling as well with the 15 Infestors, all decent hands.
Definitely. Mancan pointing out that sometimes when you want to raise a specific amount, sometimes especially if you're using the slider, you gotta be real careful.
Yeah, especially with 300 gold, I can only imagine the sensitivity on that slider is not the best. So people have to spend a little bit of time making sure they get their bet appropriately sized if they're using one of the preset bet options. And wow, look at this, a 6-way hand. Plenty of cards on the table. It's hard to call this. There's so much action going on. We see kind of 3 separate battles happening in 3 different sections of the map. I think these BCs are in a prime position to kind of clear everything out.
Yeah, the ground's kind of been shredded. The Marauders and Banshees went straight into the Queens, and there's just really nothing left that can deal with those battle cruisers.
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy game. There's definitely a lot of skill involved, and especially reaching some of these high MMRs. But there is certainly also a lot of RNG. Obviously, the unit counts, but even spawn placement. Just how are your units going to be placed? Are they going to get sandwiched by two other people? Are they going to just have like a one-on-one and then kind of move off and kill everything else? It really kind of just depends on your role. And like I predicted here, we see the one battle cruiser surviving. Looks like there is also a one wild card alive left. I'm not sure what that is. Is that the Broodlord? Yeah, okay, there's a Broodlord in the mix. The 6-wave pot gets dwindled down to 3 winners there.
So we've got Protoss plus 3/3 with Scaro having 13 disruptors. And that's a very strong hand. And if he gets lucky and rolls something else, then those disruptors are pretty much going to be unstoppable. Or at least unkillable.
Yeah, those disruptors are quite strong right now. Just their attack by themselves, I'd say, is pretty good, but I think the main thing is how well they just kite themselves to the corner of the room. It's almost impossible for anything to chase them down. Obviously, not so strong versus air, but their strong ground attack, suited with or in conjunction with their kiting ability, just makes them really, really powerful in this game.
Yeah, the one up unit that's a good counter on the ground, or halfway decent counter, is actually siege tanks, because the siege tank range is enough to get the purifiers to back off, and siege tanks have just enough HP to, I think it takes usually, 2 of the blasts to take them out, maybe 3? I can't remember off the top of my head.
So, interesting positioning here. Yeah, the 6 Archons. I don't know if that's going to be enough against all this air. Yeah, we see the Yamato's going out, all the Cloak Banshees just mowing those Archons down. And like I said, these disruptors will typically kite, but if there's nothing for them to attack, they're just going to keep moving towards the middle of the map and just get obliterated by this powerful air engine.
Yeah, purifiers are weak.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, purifiers, despite the fact they are annoying on the ground, it will run away from everything. If there's nothing on the ground, then they'll just sit there for air units to smack them. Oh, Bata Games has my absolute favorite hand. Well, no, second favorite hand. Full favorite hand is the 16 Liberators. But 12 is going to take out pretty much everything. Is probably even those high tempers.
Yep, and he raises immediately with those. Raising 6 from his ante of 3, so 9 gold from him. You see Scarlet Call with 17 Stalkers, along with Burnt Call with the 8 Crosses. As we get our second card here, what do you think? I think that definitely is a really strong hand. We get 14 Lurkers.
Oh, yeah, 14 Lurkers, 12 Liberators, super strong anti-air, uber strong ground. Honestly, he's definitely got this hand less than 3 ways, splits everything up too badly.
Yeah, Scarl with the suited buff and the 2/2 Protoss, but I think these tier 1 units are just not going to cut it against these powerful units from his opponents.
Yeah, the only way this could have really, really gotten messed up for Bata Games would be if the Liberators all focused on Burnt, and that would include the Lurkers doing that too. So, unfortunately,
Very good. So even, only 15 minutes into this game, and we see already a discrepancy forming in the gold, what would you call it? The gold amounts of each player, reach up, sitting at 425, so up almost 50% from his starting point. And then Burnt at 169, so about half of what he started with, not quite. But you can already see the discrepancy in gold building up in this table. Of course, everyone's still very well in the game. The antes are still very low. 3 antes, so plenty of.
Wow! After a lackluster first set of cards, the second card, we got some interesting stuff coming through here.
Yeah, checks all around, giving people an opportunity to see their second cards, and yeah, everyone getting pretty powerful. Short of the adepts and the 2 corruptors, I'd say the rest of these are pretty decent pickups. So we'll see. We might have another large pot, but as I say that, people are folding left and right. So we'll see how many people actually remain. Man can of course raising, trying to push some people out. I don't think 3 ghosts and 5 colossus is necessarily the strongest hand, but maybe we'll see Burnt play with his 6 Tempest. Yes,
And
he
his
his
Banelings alone might be enough to clear up everything but the Ultralisks.
Yeah, Nemesis is in a tight spot here. But he decides to call. It's an interesting choice. I think these Tempests are going to be able to just take everything else out, though. The low unit count on the Ghosts and the Corrupt is not really, you know, proving to be any challenge for his powerful Tempest units.
Yeah. And remember, the Tempests get that bonus versus Massive against Colossi because it's hittable by air.
Yeah, so taking out that pot with plenty of time left to spare.
Oh, we got a 7 battlecruiser in.
Very nice pickup from Mankan here, especially with the 2/2 Terran. Scar raising off the bat with 32 Marines, which also obviously will benefit from that 2/2. Mankan instantly calling. I think we're going to see some folding from most of our other players here.
The one thing I wanted to point out, and it's been the weirdest thing that I've noticed, has there been a single Raven this game?
No, I don't think we've seen Ravens yet, actually.
Yeah, I haven't seen any Ravens or DTs yet. So this has been unusual. We'll have to see how that plays out later on. Mark Can with a god tier hand of 7 battlecruisers and 8 Tempests. Pretty confident he's going to have this one.
Yeah, wow, it's quite a powerful hand indeed. And the battlecruisers benefit so much from the attack upgrade. You can see as they start firing that high attack speed. And the higher your attack speed is in StarCraft 2, the more you benefit. We do see some nice Widow Mine hits going off and bruising and taking out a lot of these BCs, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah. One interesting tactic I've learned myself to use with the Widow Mines is a lot of people put them in front. Don't. They just get shredded. Put them in back. Especially if you've got units that are either melee or flying, because those your units will tank for your Widow Mines, and then those discount Ravens will actually land their shots and get some good damage in.
Right, so we do see some of those DTs finally being dealt out to Reach. Of course, starting with Scar raising with the 11 Archons, no upgrades on the board yet. Reach calling, or actually re-raising him with his Dark Templar. So I think that'll be enough to force everyone else out. We'll see how Scar plays the re-raise, though. I think he'll probably stay in the hand.
Yep. Now, if detection is brought about, those Archons will shred through the DTs. The AoE blast is really strong. And here we go. We've got Scaro getting 99% chance, 95% chance of getting a detector of some sort in that wild card hand.
So Scaro pushing a lot now, raising 35 with being dealt 19 wild cards. Will he get a detector? It doesn't look like it. I don't see.
Wow, that's fine. I'm glad I said 95% because it's pretty unusual for that many wild cards not to have a Raven, Oracle, or Disruptor in it. Or Ghost.
Oh, okay, there's, 3 flying, yeah? So he certainly won't get knocked out here. It'll be a nice split pop, but those Dark Templar just shredding everything on the ground with nothing to detect them and take them out.
Yeah, that was unlucky for Scaro and very lucky for Reach.
I'm curious how Mancan's hand would have held up there. He had the carriers, I think 5 carriers, and was it 11 or 14 of the lurkers? So he probably could have definitely split that pot. Of course, he didn't know what his opponents had, so it was probably the safe bet to fold there. But
yeah, Scaro's got the 23 queens starting off. don't have any upgrades to them, but even then, that's a lot of queens, a lot of healing, a lot of HP. So very strong hand.
Yeah, Frosticles starting off the raising with the 2/2 Tempest, and then Nemesis re-raising him with the 18 Phoenixes. So I think both players seeing that 2/2 and deciding, okay, why don't I push these Protoss units a little bit here?
Yeah, both have decent numbers, and never underestimate the Phoenixes, especially when you've got them backed up by Corruptors. Now, unfortunately, for Nemesis side of things, I don't think he's going to have enough energy to deal with all those queens, but yeah, it's going to be. Oh wow, the queen's getting off nice and easy right now, just being able to kind of poke at the back of those Phoenixes.
Yeah, Nemesis getting like a very, very powerful anti-air hand, but he only had the Tempest to really shoot at. Phoenixes, of course, can lift, and we see them lifting on the Queens right now. But I think this is providing the opportunity for the Thors to kind of clean up shop, or at least tie. I don't
Yeah,
think
because
she's...
the
Oh, go
queens
ahead.
are the only things that can damage the Thors, because Thors are massive, so they can't be lifted.
Yeah, so these Thors are just going to kind of chill. Of course, we see the 10-second timer, and there's no way they're going to kill these Corruptors in time, so nice split pot there.
Yep. If there'd been a little bit more time, eventually, or actually very quickly, those even though just 3 Thors would have shredded through the Corruptors because of the AOE splash, and Corruptors are very close knit communities.
Once again, we're seeing some Protoss upgrades on the board. This time only 1-1. Checks so far from Burnt and 0-2 Reach thinking about how he wants to play 7 Widow Mines, which I would be surprised if he does anything but check. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, Widow Mines not that strong, but they can be game changers if you get lucky with them. But not 7 of them. 7 with the mothership. Whoo, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, not the
Burnt
strongest
with
hand.
the really strong anti-air hand.
Yeah, and after everyone checks and gets out their second card, we see him finally raising 10 Broodlords and 26 Marines, so no, not benefiting from the Protoss upgrades at all, but still decent hand. Oh, wait, sorry, I totally misread that. He has the 11 Liberators and 22 Vikings, so yeah, that's going to be plenty strong, enough to take out all these Archons and the Banshees.
Yep. And can't just surrendering right away because there is no way his Banshees are going to survive that once they come uncloaked. This is a Protoss heavy hand, and those ghosts are... They may not do much, but they will be enough to just completely mess up the day of every single Protoss in the match. Ghosts are definitely the ultimate Protoss counter.
Absolutely. Just destroying those shields, getting rid of the energy and all those spellcasters.
Yeah, especially with Archons, because Archons have, what, 5 HP, or 10 HP, that's right. And, yeah, they just, once their shields are gone, they're just kind of, poof, pop.
Yeah, they go from the tankiest unit, or one of the tankiest units in the game anyway, to literally the squishiest, just from one little spellcast.
Very cool hands. I like these cards. The Void Rays Broods, BC's Archons, Siege backed up by Locusts, or Swarm Hosts / Locusts. And that's 49 Marines. I like 49 Marines.
Yeah, I think that it has to fold here, though. He has no anti-air at all. He's really hedging his bets, that assuming no one has any air attacks that can just kind of mow his units down. He could be hoping to just play the attrition game, the survival game, and that seems like what he's doing. If those BCs, there's only 2 BCs, so those probably won't have enough time, especially if the Marines get underneath them and just mow them down immediately. Look at that.
Yep. Here come the Locusts doing exactly what I figured they'd do, and tanking for the tanks.
Wow, and I was just kind of questioning whether or not he wanted to play this hand, and he just instantly clears it out. That was an amazing
You were right, though.
set of circumstances.
That was an actual gamble in BattlePoker. He was counting on the fact that his opponents would either knock out each other's air or wouldn't have air. And it paid off very well for him getting that 105 pot, which, I mean, not huge, but that keeps him in second place with a nice margin.
Here we're seeing definitely some nice hands. Burnt with the 8 carriers, 0-2, 5 Colossus, not so bad. Prosecutors 22 Queens, that's always a nice hand. And of course, we see Scar with the BTs. So Frosticles leading off the raising race, raising 10 with his 22 Queens. I definitely think we'll see some calls from some of these other players here.
Definitely. I mean, 8 carriers, I'm pretty sure that's maxed out. DTs are always good for at least a small bat of some sort.
Yeah, for re-raising him another 15 with these 8 carriers, which is definitely the right play. I
Looks
think
like,
we'll see 2 calls. Yep, there we go. So we get dealt our second cards. What do you think about these second cards here?
well, obviously, Scarro's got a really, really good chance. There is a slight possibility that the splash from the lurkers will be able to hit the DTs, but it is a little unlikely. Um, but if not, then, well, obviously, Burnt is likely to survive because the queens are going to get shredded at some point, either by the lurkers or by the Banshee DT wombo combo.
Yeah, I think we're going to see the split pop between Burnt and Scarlet here. Unfortunately, Frostoplease does not have much of a chance sandwich between these 2 hands.
Yep.
Yeah, we can see the carriage just kind of shooting at all their interceptors. Queens have good anti-air attack and obviously are tanky, but not enough to
Too
take
much
out with
firepower coming at them.
especially when you have DTs and Banshees also mowing away.
Oh yeah, and the lurkers were doing a good set of work on them too. Just all that massive splash damage because there were 15 lurkers coming in there.
Very nice. So we still see Reach on top with 410 gold. Scar at the bottom there at 204 gold, but still, like I said before, even 30 minutes in this game, everyone still has plenty of Battle Poker left to play. Annies are only up to 8. Oh, and as our observers point out, we finally see a Raven. 1.
Yep. Our first Raven is a 1 Raven.
Ravens are definitely shy tonight. Only 1 coming out to say hi after 33 minutes or so of play, but they're certainly welcome to the party. Although I think Mancancan is not going to feel too confident with only a unit count of 1.
Yeah, yeah. Also, for those watching who aren't familiar with StarCraft time, when everybody is saying the 33, 35 minutes, that's in StarCraft time, which is slightly faster than how the rest of us live.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I can't be bothered. Do the conversion. When we're in game, we're just going by StarCraft time. Never
Yep.
understood why they didn't adjust that. I understand there's some weird stuff with the game speed and how there's a normal game speed and then everyone actually plays on the fastest game speed, but they should just make the... I guess for build order purposes, when you're playing actual StarCraft, they kind of allow to have the timer be consistent, but it's just so confusing at this point, and no one really actually plays in the slower game speeds, so... I think it's just a relic, and because of build orders and timings and people using it, they just don't want to bother changing it.
This is going to be interesting because that's enough Marines to kill those Ultras. And then the PCs are going to be focusing on the carriers and getting wrecked by the Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. Marines are also another unit that heavily benefit from that attack upgrade. 3/3
Yep.
Marines are one of the scariest things in normal StarCraft 2. And
Oh, yeah.
of course, they're shooting against the armored Terran units, so it kind of nullifies the effect there. But just that mass number plus the carriers, those BCs really never had a chance.
Yep. BCs are one of my favorite counters, least favorite counters to carriers, but because they were focusing their Yamatos on those carriers, that means they weren't shooting at the Marines down on the ground.
Yep.
The 3/3 Protoss upgrades. I'm a little surprised 0-2 is staying in because mutas are not that strong unless they've got upgrades.
Yeah, especially when you see 3/3 Protoss, you gotta assume someone else has some decent Protoss. Maybe not decent, but some Protoss. And
Yep.
all right, this is gonna be an interesting battle to cast. Again, we got a nice 4-way split here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. It just kind of depends on who's targeting whom. Cassidy's Liberators beaten up on Mancancan. And
Yeah, Mancan getting targeted by all that beautiful anti-air and ground burst. Now there's actually a really good chance for those. It may just be 6 Liberators, but remember they've got Very, very strong ground attack, and they'll be able to wreck the broods because of the splash damage.
Yeah, we'll see. Here we go. Those brutes stacking up again. Yeah, there we go. You see that powerful AoE just straying through them as you suggested might happen. And we watched that happen right before our eyes.
It's one of the reasons I stopped going so heavily on my corruptors, is because there were too many instances where my corruptors, despite having so much HP and some decent armor, just up base, because they stack up like that, it means that anything with air splash is just going to shred them.
So we see Scaro here doing a twice big blind raise here. Or, I don't know if big blind is the proper term because we just have antis, but twice an anti raise here with the 48-1-1 Marines. And I think maybe forcing everyone out except Nemesis here, who picks up the 8 wild cards to back up his 14 infestors. Scaro getting the 23 roaches, which is not the best pickup, but he has a decent unit count on both, so maybe that'll be enough just to kind of brute force his way through this hand.
Yep. Well, like you were saying, those Marines, I mean, these aren't fully upgraded, but they... Oh, I forgot about... Oh, ow.
Yeah, the fungals plus just a couple nice storms there from the wild cards, just completely obliterating that army. There are a few roaches left, though, so maybe there'll be enough. Those infestors are really low on energy. They might get a few more infested Terrans out soon, but I don't know if that's going to be enough.
I believe they will throw one more infested Terran apiece before it's over, but there won't be time for it to hatch.
Well, that's enough time. That's enough to at least for the timer to go off and see a nice split pot there. But yeah, we saw him with like some lower tier cards, just using that high unit count to brute force his way to a tie there.
We're going to have some brutality coming out this next round, potentially. 18 High Templar and 42 Banes. If both those players stay in, there's going to be some massive just devastation, regardless of what units are out on the battlefield.
Yeah, reach raising 30 with 2 Vikings. That's an interesting bluff, to say the least, just trying to force people out, and he may actually be able to take this. Oh, plus Scaro calling.
0-2 as well. I mean, let's face it, 18 High Templar, that's strong.
Right, well, Reach not getting what he needs with the 5 Tempest versus the high unit counts of all of his 2 opponents.
Yep. Now, here's an interesting thing. Those 5 Tempests might actually keep Reach in the game because they sit so far back that the Templar Marine and Roach Queen are probably going to end up focusing on each other significantly before they deal with the Tempests.
Reach really going full middle with this bluff he had, raising another 97. I guess he's the chip leader right now, so he's feeling like he's in a position to try to like really extend it. Scaro calling though with his 1-1 Zerg army.
0-2 folds.
Yeah, wow. I think that was maybe a smart play, but we see these queens slowly marching their way up, and they're going to take all these Tempests out without an issue, I think.
In fact, the roaches are helping the queens kind of force target some of these by getting them to do that nice concave.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. It's not the fastest battle, but I think plenty of time left here, even with the 10 seconds left for them to take out this Tempest. Whoa, okay. Wow. Maybe this is kind of going back to what I said before. I thought 10 seconds would be enough, but then I have to remember that's 10 seconds of StarCraft time, not 10 seconds of real time.
I hadn't realized that.
Yeah,
I'd always thought that 10 seconds passed a little bit quickly.
Yeah, I think if we had a timer there, we set out 10 seconds, those queens would have had no problem. But with the extended pace or the quickened pace of the StarCraft timer, it's actually a pretty fast window for everything to kind of just transpire.
Well, we've got more DTs coming in, and there is a counter to them on the board. It's just it's a temp counter, but it will remove their cloaked while they're hit, and that's the infestors.
Yeah, bad games raising with this 5 Dark Templar, and Nemesis re-raising with the counter like you just suggested, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with just the two of them. But we see a lot of and I just know Frostacle's also raised before them, so everyone really confident in their hand. Frostacle's finally folding out. I think he realized, okay, lurkers are probably not what I want to play when I have two other people shoving.
Yeah, it's going to come down to that second card, because if I recall correctly, I don't think the infesteds. That's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, I think Bad just has to check here. I think as soon as he does, Nemesis is just going to re-raise and force him out.
Yeah, it's well, I guess not.
Nope, no raise, but either way, he's going to very quickly win this hand.
Interesting. The Vikings did not land, despite the fact the DTs were decloaked for a moment.
Okay, 2 DTs actually surviving the fray, so I think Bad kind of catching a nice break here.
Yeah, because I can't recall. I'm pretty sure those the Vikings aren't going to land though.
No, they will not land. They're Dark Templar around. They are just mightily afraid. But yeah, either way though, I think that was kind of Bad's hand to lose, and he kind of lucked out that those infestors, one of their fungals didn't hit all of the Dark Templar there.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing anything godlike right here. If Scarrow gets a good tanking hand, then those clones could actually prove pretty clutch. But so far, nothing really impressive yet.
Yeah, I think we'll see checks all around unless one of our players wants to do a little bluff.
Oh, here comes Scarrow.
All right, well, like you said, 13 Cyclones, not the best hand, but if he gets something else, I don't even know if I would call that a bluff. Maybe just testing the waters.
Yeah. Well, if everybody else is checking, it's still early enough in the game. There aren't a whole lot of the check raises going on.
Yeah, he only did the minimum raise as well, so definitely more of a test the waters kind of bet than a full gamble, I would say. Then he gets the Swarm Host, so those can indirectly provide some tankiness with the waves of Locusts just constantly streaming in. Of course,
That'll be a draw.
Bad at picking up the Disruptors, though, so this is going to be an interesting hand to watch. Unfortunately...
One of the weird things that I've learned about the Disruptors is there is not going to be quite... Well, actually, if these Locusts don't take care of the Roaches, maybe things will change. But most of the time I see a Swarm Host Disruptor, regardless of the other units involved, it tends to be a tie because, as you can see, the Disruptors are now running away, and they will run just far enough that the next batch of Locusts comes out.
Split pot, okay, so
Yep.
I think was that a timer, or was that an auto attack kind of? I know sometimes pots will sometimes end early because it doesn't think that there's been a battle happening. Yeah. Did the timer actually get called there? I missed that.
Time did not get called. It was no shots fired with X amount of time, but it would have ended up being a timeout anyways because there's not enough time for the Disruptors to get to the Swarm Hosts before they start running away from the Locusts.
Yeah, no, I totally follow what you're saying. I think that was going to happen either way. I just was kind of surprised with how quickly that battle ended. But our producer informed us that, yeah, that is definitely a glitched interaction, I guess, that the Disruptors are not triggering the battle.
Yeah. Disruptors, it's been a known glitch for a while, so I'm sure it'll get fixed at some point, but everybody knows that it's a possibility whenever Disruptors are on the field.
All right, so here we see rather large pot developing here.
We've got the first noticeable amount of Ravens coming out.
Yeah, seeing getting a Terran suited bonus as well, which is going to benefit those Marines quite a bit. The 2/2 Protoss would be good, obviously, for the Archons and the Oracles, but I don't know if that's going to be a huge game breaker. Obviously, the Oracle's not benefiting from the attack. The Archon's having a slow attack, so the attack upgrade not so beneficial or impactful, I guess I should say, for them. And we see those
Big
archons
thing is
being
going to be
folded out.
those EMPs knocking out a lot of the Raven's energy.
Oof. Wow, still
In
getting
fact,
some powerful shots off, but yeah, being EMP'd, they're not going to be regenerating or doing any second attacks. So I guess we're going to see another split pot.
yep.
Fortunately, 2 ghosts not enough to take out all these ravens in time. We see the commentary, the in-game chat, the players talking about the ravens, the lack of
Yep.
ravens so far in this approaching 52-minute game.
Yep.
Of course, that's again only maybe 38 minutes in real life, but definitely, this game has been lasting for quite a while now, and still all of our players in it.
Elimination.
Yeah, Mankinken's starting to get a little bit of a nervous position. Only 126 gold with 16, with an anti-level of 16, I guess I should say. So that's about, 8 bets. 8 bets left for Mankinken. So he definitely needs to start making something happen. Of course, we see here Frosticles and Batic Games in a heads-up position. I think this is Frosticles' hand to take. We have the Adepts and the Marines, neither of which is going to be too strong against Frosticles yet. He puts the Stalkers in front, but again, they're going to start blinking back. Those keep moving forward and start taking some shots. But he doesn't have the most ground DPS either, so it'll be kind of interesting to see if one of these players can take the other out.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. It's Frosticles' game to win because guess not.
Yeah, Bata doing a large raise there and just pushing Frosticles out.
Yeah. I was going to say the double shot from the Thors will pretty much, maybe not one tap. I mean, it'll kill the Marines off pretty quick, especially after they've stemmed. But the Stalkers I would have expected to buy just enough time to deal with anything. Now, I can't quite see. Has Burnt got 9 Tempests?
Yeah, it looks like 9. I believe so.
Okay. That's a very strong hand. Frosticles with the 11 Liberators. So if Frosticles stays in, then yeah, it's definitely a good chance for... and you could go either way with that, kind of depending on who the Thors decide to target first.
So I just want to say I liked that Bata folded here. I know Bata, he's definitely excited after winning that last hand off the bluff and sitting at a large chip lead, but I'm glad that he's still playing conservatively. I think a lot of other players in that massive chip lead would have been like, oh, that's a decent Oracle count, I can call. But that's how you start losing that chip lead, right? Like, he would not have been able to take out or fire upon all these air units on our opponents. So definitely a good play for Bata. Hopefully he doesn't get too in his head that he is in a nice winning position here.
Yep. Well, thankfully, for Burnt's case, he rolled those 5 battle cruisers, which means he's got that nice tanky line for his Tempest just to smack anything that comes into range.
And just like that, Frosticles was the first person knocked out. He made it. He made it here as the leader on the score. He won 4 games in a row, but unfortunately, he couldn't take it home in the final table where it matters most. But of course, he still won $20 for being the point leader after the first 6 weeks. So definitely still a worthwhile experience for him. Getting some money, getting the Thug Reaver avatar, just making it to this table. But an exit finally from our final table. Frosticles getting knocked out.
Yeah, after some excellent play, it took almost the full hour to get a single elimination. So that was fantastic, fun gameplay. Hey, tell us a little bit more about how the winnings are determined, brought about. Because I know there was some details on that as to how we're doing it and avoiding any actual gambling involved.
Yeah, so all of our tournaments have been completely free to play for everyone. So there's no entry fee or prize pool that's derived from the players. They've all just been volunteered from either our dev, Skelly Jelly, or for this actually for the league here, Bot D is actually funding the prize pool, so I guess that's a great point. Definitely want to give props to Skelly and Bot D for giving our players some actual money to compete over.
Yep. Like I've said before in other casts and videos, this is a fantastic community. It's one of the reasons I keep coming back to it. It's pretty non-toxic, and for a StarCraft 2 community, that's doing real good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a large pot, 416 gold, 0-2 taking that.
Yeah, I have to admit I wasn't watching that hand too closely, but definitely a nice pickup for 0-2. And we see him sitting in a nice, comfortable third place position with 400 gold. Bert and Bata about tied in the first and second place positions. And now we see Can in a bit of trouble still. Only 78 gold left, and the ante is being raised up to 20.
Winning that hand nice and easy with, let's face it, 24 ghosts. It's a really good reason to not take that on. That's a good hand to bet on.
Absolutely. So here we see the 2-2 Protoss upgrades being dealt out. And Reach deciding to raise with the 7 Void Rays.
Look at 0-2 saying that we're probably like, what are you smoking? It's like, nope, that was actually a good idea. There's a handful of things that can beat up on the ghosts. I think battle cruisers. If you have a full hand ultra, I'm talking about max stacks. And so I think it's like battle cruisers, ultralisks, and there's a couple others, ravens obviously, but the amount of DPS that the ghosts can throw out against cloak units, with that EMP just knocking them out of cloak permanently, etc. Ghosts are one of the very, very strong units because they've also got snipe for bio units. Like you have 3 ultras, full stack of ghosts is going to shred them because of the snipes.
Yeah, ghosts are great. They definitely have the high DPS, like you were saying. Only real drawback for them is they kind of also get owned. They're definitely glass cannon style kind of units. They definitely need something tanky to sit in front of them and just let them get their shots off.
Yeah.
Although there's been some debate about that. I know some people like to put their ghosts up front to make sure they get those EMPs off really quickly against any spellcasters.
Yeah, it's a choose your own adventure scenario there. And we've got Can going all in. It is his potentially last hand. We'll have to see if his Ravens and Fire Bats can deal with whatever's coming out here.
I
Maybe?
think that was the right call, but we'll see. He's definitely suffering a lot of friendly fire there.
Yeah.
Now there's only the 1 or 2 Tempests left, and I think that he should have enough time to at least draw this, even if he doesn't get some nice energy back and shots off. So I think we'll see a split pot here.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Can, which is what he needed. I mean, obviously he would have really liked to win this hand, but it is getting a little bit tight though. A lot of these Ravens are really bruised. There's less than 10 seconds left. 3 Ravens, 2 Ravens. Oh, okay, 3 Ravens surviving. So yeah, split pot.
And that actually turns out to be a profit for Potfit. Wow, I can't talk today. Because he was down to like, 50-something gold, but because the initial antes are so high, the split pot really paid out for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely keeping him in this
game. Last position.
Yeah, now Nemesis and Scar are the ones really starting to sweat. Nemesis with
Can rough position with 1 Swarm host, so I don't know about you, but that's not something I'd really want to go in on.
Alright, well, Reach deciding to raise 48 with the 8 Void Rays. I'd be surprised if we don't see Nemesis go all in. Yep, there we go. So the 8 Void Rays versus the Battle Cruiser is going to be interesting. Obviously, we'll have to see. Ooh, alright. Alright, getting some Liberators too. I think this is Nemesis' hand to take finally. Yeah. Obviously, the Void Rays were strong. Ravagers have really good anti-air, but I think the initial volley of anti-air is just going to be enough to take out these Void Rays. Kind of depends on how much they stack though. There's some nice Ravager shots.
Yeah, but there's no upgrades for the Void Rays, so I expected, this to happen kind of like this.
Yeah.
But there's 1/1 for the Battlecruiser Libs, so yeah, That pulled off well because the Voids focused down the Liberators first.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a dramatic hand with those first bios going out. The units looked pretty stacked, and they certainly took a lot of damage. But yeah, just so much firepower in Nemesis battle cruisers and liberators that he was able to take that hand out.
So right now, it's looking like those Vikings are going to be the best in the air. Not a whole lot on the ground right now. Actually, humorously enough, it looks like Zealots are the strongest ground unit we've got.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a rare occurrence, I would say.
Yeah, probably will change up on the second card, but for now, strongest ground unit is the Zealots. Oh, we got some all in. We got Man Can going all in with Zealots.
So I know it's not the focus of this cast, but I just wanted to give a quick update on the runner-up table. Right now we have 3 players left. We see that one Zell with a 1,300 gold stack in first place. Starmeister also sitting well at about 350 gold in second place, and Kills in third place. So that'll be definitely exciting game to check out afterwards and see who from the runner-up table manages to get that Fell Reaver skin.
This is going to be an interesting hand. The air battle is probably going to go to 0-2, but I never underestimate the upgrades. Well, actually, everybody's got suited upgrades this round.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, I think this is definitely Zero's 2 hand. Vikings are classically one of the best anti-air units in the game. He has plenty of them. Also, the 7 Thors are quite powerful versus anti-air. Bata has a strong hand, but I just think he's going to see that Viking count and be like, oh boy.
Those Thors are getting wrecked by the wombo combo of Oracles and everything else.
Wow.
So,
yeah, 0-2 kind of getting teamed up on, though. I was hyping up his hand, but he was the first to get knocked out. Those charge lots running in, Oracles on the Thors. Wow, okay, Bata kind of just staying off to the side, letting the other 2 duke it out while he tickled them with his Void Rays and coming away with the win there. So excellent play from Bata.
And there goes Man Can going out about 10 minutes after Frosticles. Ooh, this is going to be fun. 10 Tempests.
Yeah, Burnt raising with that, as could be expected. Just doing the min raise, though. 0-2 and Reach folding their underwhelming cards, the 2 Colossus and 2 Hellbats. Bata also deciding probably best to fold the Store 4s, Nemesis 1 Void, right? Yeah, that's an easy cleanup for Burnt.
Yeah, that's one hand that I would have. I'm kind of surprised Burnt didn't just check on that initial, because yeah, you win the initial pot, but that many Tempests, it's hard to lose with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's possible not to win, but it is very hard to lose.
So we see that Protoss 1-1 upgrades on the table. Not too many Protoss units to benefit from it, though. Disruptors aren't going to care about the attack upgrades. Phoenix is definitely
the shield and armor upgrades, but those 18 Phoenixes with upgrades is not bad.
Yeah, I think if Scarro's going to go all in on a hand, this is probably the hand to do it. I mean, Phoenixes aren't the strongest unit in the game, but he has a decent count, and he has the upgrades for them, so might as well. He's got to make a plan something. Picking up the 9 tanks, which can be good, but also not the best. I think Reach's Ravens with 23 Ravens. That's a beautiful, beautiful number of Ravens.
Yep.
So
it's enough players that nope. So they will get 2 shots off, and yeah, it's going to be a GG for Scarro because boom. Yeah, can I get a nuke in chat, please?
Yeah, not wasting their time. Sometimes we see one shot go off, and then you kind of have to wait a little bit, but just instantly clearing that out.
Yep, and after a long game with nobody dropping, we've got 3 players going out all within a very short time frame of each other, so it's, things are heating up.
Yeah, we still see Bata and Burt in great positions here. Reach also 500 gold plus his antes in the pot right now, so also in a nice position.
Oh, this is going to be fun. So, if I recall correctly, banelings are spell damage, correct?
I'm not sure. I don't think they are actually. I mean, maybe no, because they benefit from the. I know that one of the things you want to do, as I'm a Zerg player, is you want to rush the +2 melee attack, so your banelings can start one-shotting workers.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. But he's actually, wow, this is both Reach and Bata Games have +4/4 Zerg. So we'll have to see if those Banes are going to be able to bust through the lurkers to get at those queens. But this is an interesting one.
Oh yeah, look at that. Definitely going to be able to bust through the lurkers. But
They don't.
oh, actually no, I thought they would. Okay, some of the lurkers surviving, and yeah, those hydras have no shot now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Some of those lurkers were just in range for the queens to give them some heals.
yeah,
So plus the AoE damage is cutting all the way to the back of that Bane burst. So yeah, whew, that was for me that was intense because that many Banelings is a scary number.
yeah. The queens are great against the banelings because they're so big, that they have a wide unit girth, and the banelings, like to have a bunch of units stacked up on each other. But the queens, they're just and they didn't even make it to the queens first of all because of the lurkers. But even still, yeah, that large queen count, I don't think those banelings ever had too much of a shot in retrospect.
That's where unit positioning comes in. If those lurkers had been in back, the Banes do fast enough damage that those queens would have lost quite a few units just because they would have had time to heal.
Look at this classic mech army, the tanks and the Thors. Thor's tanking the shots for the tanks, and just clearing out that army from burnt.
In a Thors versus Marauders, Marauders usually win. However, because Marauders are armored, the tanks get bonus damage to them, so it just did not go well for the Marauders this time. Interestingly, a hand with no air units. One of the few we've seen this game. I think that this hand and the last hand were some of the first ones we've seen with no air units at all.
That's a good point. Yeah, the air units, I think, in general, are pretty strong in BattlePoker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have them dealt, you can't play them.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's one of the things early game. You don't see many players going in if they don't have air units or at least anti-air.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see Burnt raising with the 19 Vikings. Bata trying to decide if he wants to play his 10 Ravens. And yeah, I'm glad to see Bata is still playing conservatively here, not letting his nearly 12,000 gold get to his head. He knows he just has to play the survival game, try to get down to heads up with the nice chip lead.
Yep. And this is going to be interesting because Marines are very, very good, and they may be able to shred through the Thors in time. Oh, nope.
It was close.
Oh, that's right. Those Thors had an extra armor on them.
Yeah. It looked pretty close, but yeah, those Thors are just so good. It would take a while for Bio to kill them. And we finally see Nemesis.
Low damage per shot of Marines. One armor makes a big difference. I mean, you see that all the time in pro games.
So we're finally at our final four. We have Bata Games sitting at 1157 gold after the antes. Burnt at 719, also a respectable gold count. And now Reach at 250, 02 at 130. Our antes are up to 36, so definitely putting pressure on 02. He only has, 4 or 5 bets left. Reach also starting to feel pressure with less than 10 bets, so...
Now, honestly, this is a hand, considering how few detection units have popped up this game, don't know why, but very few have, this would be one that I'd be betting heavy. Yep, he goes all in on this one, and unfortunately he's not going to... It's going to be a split pot, but it was definitely one that you want to go in on, because that many DTs, low detections being rolled this game, very, very good chance of taking something down here.
Yeah, he was also, in a position where he needed to make a play happen, and he got more gold than he started the hand with. So definitely a good call for him. Good play for him.
Yep. Breach going with 16 siege tanks. That in and of itself is a very, very strong hand.
Yeah, one of those hands where it's a ground unit, doesn't have any anti-air, but when you see that unit count, 16 tanks, you know you're pretty much going to dominate most things on the ground. Uh,
Yep.
so yeah, he forces everyone out and is able to win the antes with that.
We've had to with 0-2 getting another batch of large DTs. Let's see if he can get people to face off on him this time.
Reach is going to push him all in, and I think he will be happy with that. If you have to go all in on with the hand, I think 23 Dark Templars is something. Of course,
Goes and rolls
Reach.
8 battle cruisers, and 0-2 doesn't get a single anti-air option.
Yeah, so we're gonna see another split pot here.
Yep.
But again, I think 0-2 is fine with that because he's getting those large antes from the other players. Yeah. All right, yeah, you see those 2-2, or sorry, actually 3-3 BCs just clearing out everything that they could see, but they cannot see the Dark Templar.
And the only Yamato that's splash damage comes from Menska's Prides of Augustgrad, and that's not in this game, this mode.
So yeah, these antes are starting to get quite large, 52 gold apiece. So yeah, this is forcing Bat to start to make some type of play. He can't just sit passively forever, or these antes are going to start draining him. And but he's able to He's able to win the antes in that pot, and
It's now a
continue.
DT game. This is was what 6 rounds, and 3 of them have had plus 20 DT hands.
Yeah, wow, look at that. All right, so yeah, Burnt deciding to do a double anti-raise here. 104. 0-2 going all in with his Colossus. So obviously he's not in a winning position right now, but with an air unit and no anti-air draw. Okay. So let's
Well,
see.
that's not enough carriers to deal with that many Void Rays.
Yeah, absolutely not. So let's see a split pot here, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that charge up.
Humorous that every time we're getting these DTs, it is being a split pot.
Yeah, DTs, they can't attack air. So you're not expecting to win every hand with them. You can't expect to win every hand, but you can expect to at least draw most.
Yeah. Well, I just find it funny because we've had in the 6 hands, we had 3 20 plus DTs, and all 3 no detection, and it's a split pot because there's just either it's not all ground or the DT person didn't get any anti-air that worthwhile.
Yeah, no, we definitely have seen a lot of DTs. Yeah, I wonder, like you mentioned, like obviously they're independent probability each hand. So the fact that we haven't had any or very many ravens or detection in general shouldn't impact the next hand, but that definitely can get in player psychology where they're like, man, we haven't seen any ravens. These DTs are definitely gonna just survive.
Yeah. And oh look, now we have 2 hands with detection, and
And capital
this is going to be
ships.
an ouch hand.
Yeah, so let's see though. Those ravens all stacking on top of the oracles, but yeah, that doesn't matter. So
Yep.
it looks
There's
like
enough nukes there to those if it was close because those blasts actually took out a lot of the interceptors.
yeah, those ravens, despite the fact that they can obliterate an enemy's army, you have to be careful with them because they will sometimes definitely chunk your own army.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, we are to our top three now. So these players are battling out for the actual money prizes of our tournament. Only first and second place here are going to be getting any cash prizes. So not everyone's in the money yet, but Reach is going to do everything he can to try to claw back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, it only takes a couple of good hands, like a couple of good 3 ways. Boom, you're back in the game.
Yeah, well, he needs to do that soon. He only has four antes left after this hand, and he folds those Hydro, so he definitely needs to get lucky here. And maybe with these 10 Tempests, he'll make a push, but
Let's see if he does the raise or if he tries to get somebody else to raise first. Because there we go. Burnt with the initial raise reach should definitely. Okay, there we go. He'll at least
yeah,
get money out of this. Well, probably. We haven't seen the second card hand, so I shouldn't open my mouth before I know what's going to happen. And that's why.
yeah.
But both
It's a
are
bit of,
suited, so no advantage either way there. But with voids, voids are strong. Stalkers also get plus against armor, so it's a heavily anti-armored comp.
yeah, I mean, Immortals are great versus Stalkers, so they're clearing out the ground army. But we see these Void Rays going to work on the Tempest. The Void Rays are ultimately going to survive. And I
Yeah, there was
think
just
he'll
way
have
too
enough
much
time.
split before the Tempest fire.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, big game to reach just like that. He only had four or so antes left, and he decided to make a play. Didn't
Yeah,
work out for him that time, but still a great run in this
yeah, it was a great
table.
run. And let's face it, that was a hand worth betting on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are finally to the heads up portion of our final table.
Yeah,
We
both
have,
players have reasonably close amounts of gold too, so it's not like one can just bully the other one easily.
yeah, Burnt did finally take that chip leader position from Bad Games. So Bad is definitely under a little bit pressure. He can't just wait for the perfect hand forever. He's definitely gonna have to make a play on something. Um, and this hand, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting hand. I think I have to give this to Burnt. Adepts and Hellions, yeah, Burnt able to just force Bad out before he even sees the action of the battle.
Yeah, neither of those units can fire up, and they're both low, really low on the tier list. So, if he'd known there were High Templars, he would have folded faster, I suspect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, this one's probably going to go to Burnt at bat, or yeah, I would wager this goes to
I think
Burnt.
first to raise, yeah, first to raise. Well, neither raises actually. So in that case, yeah, I think it's gonna go to burnt. There's only the seven queens, and but we see the oracles actually kind of getting a little confused and focusing the roaches instead of the queens. They definitely want to be focusing those queens down.
Yep.
Um,
But the queens are not massive units, so the phoenixes can raise them. But this, well, the oracles have plenty of energy left, so I think they'll be able to chew through the roaches down there.
mm,
Or maybe not. There's only
yeah,
two
maybe
oracles
not.
left.
Yeah, the unit count for burnt was already pretty low to begin and got whittled down there. So yeah, we're seeing a split pot.
Yeah.
Look at this, very underwhelming hands as we enter this heads up portion of this game. Last hand, nothing to write home about. Oh, as I say that though, Burnt gets drawn the eight battle cruisers.
And
So yeah,
24 widow mines. Now I don't. Now if those widow mines get lucky, they have a chance, but I wouldn't count on that.
all
Now,
right. So
humorously enough, two voids do beat 23 adepts because adepts can't look up, if I recall.
it's true.
Not bad. Takes that though.
Yeah, this is kind
Now this
of.
one goes. Phoenixes have bonus versus light, I believe. So the
Oh yeah,
no.
Phoenixes are hard counter to beat us.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah.
we'll see what happens. Both
Oh
players gain
boy.
their second card. Yeah, this is Burnt's hand, and he
Totally.
raises. I think that it will just fold here.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when it gets to this heads up portion of the game, I feel like it's first to raise wins. I'd like to see the math on that. First to raise, how often they actually win the pot, or
It's relatively
the
common.
statistics on that, I guess I should say.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I see a lot of players do the check raises to try and get the other person to raise first if you've got a good hand, because otherwise they'll bet like they see you raise and it's like, nope.
Yep, yeah, that's definitely a strategy I've thought about when I play. When I rarely do get on to Battle Poker, I do play from time to time, and when I do get on there, I'm definitely thinking about that when I get to the heads up portion.
Well, this one would go to bad if this does come to fruition.
And he wins either way. Yeah, definitely a lot of action that just happens before we can actually get to the arena phase of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Now,
pretty strong hand for Burnt, but he gets again that classic mech hand, but not with huge numbers on the tanks. I think that should be enough though. The storms are not gonna be as impactful against these Thors. We'll
yeah,
see. Oh yeah, just surrendering. He's not even bother let his units get shelled by those tanks. He just surrenders right away.
if there weren't tanks, then those would have been enough storms to actually shred through all those Thors. But because of tanks, nope.
Yeah, those tanks are just gonna obliterate those light biological units on the ground.
And it was plus 4/4 Terran, so those Templar were just going to be blooped.
All right, now we see one corruptor versus the 15 oracles. Burnt getting drawn Widow Mines with the corruptor, and then Bada, of course, getting the oracles for his void raise. Burnt first to raise. Let's see what happens. Bada just fold right away. I think this is a playable hand. Yeah, and he re-raises. There we go.
Yeah,
So
that was a very playable hand because the Widow Mines might have gotten a shot off, but the amount of time it takes to kill a Corruptor with that many voids is really low. So despite the shots, nah.
that was definitely an interesting betting sequence there. I'm bad at winning it.
Yeah. Oh boy, we got some more DTs. Let's see what happens here. Because these players have been playing some all-ground unit hands.
Yeah, especially the heads up phase, you're only playing against one other person. If you're playing against the whole table, the chances are that one of them has detection goes up pretty high actually. But when you're playing one on one, chances isn't so high. So definitely the right call to raise and bad at just folding again.
I would wager Bad's going to go in on this, but yeah, unfortunately, he's got nothing that can shoot up.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the Banes are going to kill themselves on the Broodlings.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think these banelings are gonna get whittled down and we burn spot to take. I don't
Yep.
think the timer
Now,
is gonna save him this time.
nope. If there were no broodlings, then there probably are enough. Probably, I would wager, are enough banelings to time it out. But because of the boomlings, sorry, broodlings, so many lings.
StarCraft developers definitely love their lings.
Oh yeah. I'm kind of surprised that the swarm host produced locusts instead of swarmlings.
All right.
We're getting
So
another batch of broods.
yeah, the pressure is definitely on Badit now. He has less or five or so bets after this. Of course, it can turn around a lot. He just picks up 200 or not 200, 100 gold there from Burnt. So he's staying in the game, but
Oh,
definitely not
this
the
is
position he
one.
wants to be in.
Yeah, if Bad raises this one, then it's going to be a very quick uh, raise back from Burnt or fold out. Yeah, Burnt's just going to fold this one. If he doesn't, whew, more DTs for Burnt. Oh, this is interesting. There are
Yeah.
actually enough Banelings to potentially blow out that entire army for Burnt.
Yeah, I wonder if Badit's going to call here. I feel like he probably will. Oh, no, he doesn't. Okay. Well, there goes my prediction.
Yeah, well, after losing that one hand to pure air, he's playing a little more cautiously, even with his Banes.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and this one is not going to go well for Bad if he goes in.
No, absolutely not.
I don't know about you, but there are a few things scarier than 8 ultralists coming at your face.
Yeah,
Just at a
that
gut
it's
level.
definitely starting to get tight for Baddock here, so he's gonna have to win some pots soon.
Yeah.
And this is not his pot. He has
It
two
is
units that
not,
cannot attack air.
and that's
So,
gonna be it.
yeah, I believe so.
I mean, none of those are massive. The oracles are light, so it is gonna be just an absolute mess, shall we
All
say.
right, we are about to reign a champion of our first league, I believe, unless these units can survive the timer.
I mean, there's a chance, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yep.
Because
Five
despite there
lurkers.
being
4, 3, 2, 1.
boom,
GG.
can I get an F in chat and a congratulations to Bernd?
All right. Maybe we can see if Burnt wants to come on for a quick winners interview. Perhaps our producer can see if that can happen. If not, no pressure, but I'd like to give him an opportunity to hop on Discord. He's been playing, well, all these players have been playing again for since, hey, like our qualification period began in the beginning of, or not the beginning, but midway through May. So this has been something on people's minds for well over 2 months now, and it's something people have been thinking about, devoting every Thursday to for the past 6 weeks. Um, so I think that this win might even feel more of an accomplishment than some of our weekend tournaments.
Yeah, it's been a very long journey, very fun journey watching everything happen, and all sorts of upsets and changes and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah,
Bata Games was on the bubble to even get into the final game, and here he is winning second place.
yeah, definitely a great one for run for Bata. I know he's probably a little disappointed with not winning it all. I know in some of our weekend tournaments, he didn't have the best runs, but I think he should definitely be proud of his performance here. You know, missing the first week of the league qualifications, getting that 0 points early. So we did, of course, during the qualification period, during the weeks, have a system set up where it would drop below a score. So it didn't completely hamstring him, but definitely still not how you want to start off.
Right.
Missing the first game and making it
Yeah.
all the way to the final table and getting second place is definitely very respectable. He's in the money. Definitely very well played by Baddick Games.
Mhm.
But of course, we have to just talk about Burnt. Like,
Yeah.
did an amazing job.
He started out like near the bottom of like after a few hands, he was pretty low on funds at one point too.
Yeah, absolutely. They pull up the league standings real fast. All the talk going in to tonight was about Frosticles, but Burnt, hey, look at that. He was second in league results. He had 3 wins on the board. Okay, I think you can just drag him down. So yeah, so our producers informed us that Burnt will be joining us for a quick winners interview, and here he is. Burnt, congratulations, that was awesome. Well, maybe he does need a role to speak. No, okay, maybe a quick restart on the Discord for Burnt. He hopped in here, but we couldn't hear him. Hello, Burnt.
A great champion, bless us with your wisdom.
So maybe he has a microphone issue to be sorted out. But as I was just saying, Burnt, you did an amazing job in this league overall. You got second place in the qualification rounds for points. You won 3 games there. Coming tonight and taking out all of our best players over the course of the league. Definitely a huge accomplishment, winning those $60, the Fell Reaver skin, the Torn Chieftain skin. Definitely a exciting night for Burnt here. Well, he gets his microphone sorted out.
I saw you light up briefly, but I don't hear anything.
All right. No. wouldn't be a battle poker stream without some little technical issue. So it's all right, no pressure.
All right. That better?
There
Hey,
we
we
go.
can hear you.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are you feeling right now?
I feel good. It's been a good week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congrats on the win. That was a very well fought game and definitely a good comeback. If I recall, at the beginning, right, you were a little bit lower on funds and you came all the way back to take everything.
Well, yes, I respected my traditions.
Yes, I saw that. It's always important to respect traditions. They are what make us who we are today.
If you don't do a hand one all in, you're not respecting your tradition. Battle poker, you gotta go for it. First hand all in. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that was great. So I guess I before we talk too much about the final table though, I guess just want to ask how's your experience been over the league? Like you must have felt pretty confident after your first four games with those wins that you were going to be making it. But you know, did you have any anticipation coming into tonight? Or did this just feel like another league night for you? Like how are you feeling going in?
Well, you can't really think of it as any different than any of the other ones. If you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, it's the final table," then you're going to get in your head. You're not gonna do the things that have gotten you there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the things we've learned from a lot of these pro gamers is you just kind of have to view every game as the same. Obviously this is an arcade game. It's not like the most competitive scene in the world, but this was definitely a high stakes game tonight. There was money on the line, the two skins. Uh,
Wait,
so
there's money on the line on this?
yeah, you are the winner of $60 now.
All right, Skelly, can you take that $60 and go buy yourself some pizza, man?
All
All
right.
yours, buddy.
It's clearly burnt. You are a man of honor, tradition, just an all around swell guy.
Oh, you're too sweet.
So yeah, no, it was definitely a very exciting game to cast tonight. Like Lord Dragon Tree was saying, I think you were at a little bit of a little tough spot maybe towards the beginning of the game. Like, how did you feel in that comeback? Like Badit was sitting on top for a while, I believe. He had a huge chip lead over the rest of the table, but you were able to finally beat him out in that heads up period. You have anything to say about that heads up with Badit? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, my strategy at heads up is often to just get a little bit aggressive, try to read the player, don't worry about playing the cards as much, because if you play the cards, you're running about 50-50. But if you can get somebody to fold some of the slightly above average hands when you're down, that's how you're going to win it. But at the end of the day, I've just gotten insanely lucky. I got cards tonight that, if I get them in a pub game, you're going to end up on top just about every time. So, big respect for Badit Games. Everybody at the final table was just great players. I've really enjoyed playing with all of them. And what I've noticed is, these guys all deserved to be there. There wasn't a single person there who was, didn't understand card value or betting patterns. All great guys.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely the league format, definitely promotes the consistent players to get there. I think on some of our weekend events in the past, you can kind of get a little lucky. You only have to win or do well in 2 games to make it to the final table. But over the course of 6 weeks, it makes it kind of hard to squeeze in if you don't really actually deserve to be there.
Definitely. And I've played against, I think I've played at least once. I've played with every single one of these players. And every time I see them, it's like, oh, great. I'm actually going to have to work at this game.
For real. Yeah, and then you have somebody like Frosty who dominated all of the tables, and you have one bad night, the cards don't go your way, you didn't honor the random number gods with your hand one all in. It goes the wrong way, and mad respect to him. Hated to see him go out as 8th place, but still dominant performance all through the league.
Oh yeah, it was. I believe it was 58 minutes was the first player to go out.
Wow.
So I guess I also have to ask: did the 300 gold starting stack change your game at all? Like, were you thinking about that? I mean, obviously it extends the game a bit because the antes are the same, the ante levels are the same. But like, do you think that has much of an impact on your playstyle? I mean, or not really?
Yeah, it does, because you can look at more of the, more of the value bets. If you've got something that in about 1 out of 5 hands is going to survive, and it's not going to win that hand, you can value that a little bit higher. You've got some time to make up for it. And, with that larger chip stack, you can trust on probability to come around for you. You're not worried about, if I do that twice, well, now I'm just out of the game if it doesn't work out those 2 times. You're looking at over the span of, 5, 6, 7 hands, is this bet going to work out? So it does change. It made me play a little bit looser, which I think was a big benefit.
Oh, it's some great perspective to hear. Definitely interesting, and I totally see what you're saying. I think that a lot of players probably felt that way. It's not very often, I don't think there's ever any 300 gold games in the arcade pugs, so it definitely can be a bit of an adjustment for players, or especially if they haven't made it to one of the final tables of our previous tournaments. Kind of like, oh wow, okay, I definitely have some room to like work here.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see it too with a lot of the people who are at the very top of the leaderboard. You have to play so conservative because you're gonna have hands where you've got a 60% chance of winning. But if you go all in on that at a table full of 1,600, 1,700 players, and you've got a 2,000 MMR, yeah, it doesn't work out to keep that MMR that high to make those pretty decent value bets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. In pubs, you will always, especially early on, you will always have somebody calling you're all in.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, is there any other thoughts you want to share before we wrap up the stream tonight?
Well, thanks to you guys for casting. It's been fun to watch some of these tables and hear you guys talk about some of the boneheaded moves that I've made. It's definitely helped me to improve my game, and mad props to Skelly Jelly. Game is awesome. You've put in a lot of work. It's great that there's a dev who's still involved in the community, and it's been a blast to be a part of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that sentiment. Skelly's done an amazing job with this game, making it one of the top arcade games. It hasn't even been out a year, and a 10-year-old game, so definitely it can be hard for a new arcade game to take traction, but here we are sitting in a Discord with probably close to 1,000 people in it, so...
Yeah, it was like I'm sure most of us have started back. I remember 1 card draw. Now it's 2 card. And, just all the changes that have come through and the development of the game makes it. It's fun to play. I put it on par with Direct Strike.
Absolutely, and there's a little bit. It's a little more of a relaxed. Sit down, have a beer, or grab a bite to eat. Watch some TV. You don't have to be too focused on it. It's nice to just chill, play some BattlePoker, and relax.
Exactly. And it's one of the few game modes in the arcade where you can actually relax.
Definitely a very big change of pace, especially from actual StarCraft, which can be one of the most stressful games to play.
I won't even touch it because of that.
Yep, I think that's the case with a lot of players.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on for the little interview, guys.
Yeah, congrats again. That was a great run from you throughout the qualification period. Like we said before, getting 2nd place. Frosty has definitely got the spotlight, but you were also there kicking some butt in our early tables. And here you are tonight, the winner of the finale. So one final time, congratulations. And we're looking forward to seeing you in our next event.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
All right. Well, that is the end of our winners interview, and I believe the end of our stream tonight. Do you have any final thoughts, Lord Dragon Tree, before we sign off and see everyone again in our next event?
One thing I wanted to point out was, I will definitely say, I think one of the things that caused this game to go so long was the lack of Ravens and DTs early on. There were no real huge bets that were taken, because there was no nuclear option. So that definitely, I think that contributed to the not just the players. You know, they're all fantastic, high-level players, but the fact they can't nuke right off the bat.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We did see a decent amount of carriers and BCs early, I feel like, but they take a while to get their action going. Like even though they're behind DPS units, and if they're playing, like I remember early on we saw several BC versus battlecruiser hands. So no player's obviously gonna surrender right away or anything like that. You're not gonna see massive nuking like you just said. So yeah, I think we definitely played a part of it tonight.
Yeah, because there were a lot more split hands, and let's face it, when Ravens are involved, it's usually not. It's not usually going to be a split.
Yeah, absolutely not. All right, well, that is our game for you tonight. We also did have the runner-up table. Close your ears if you don't want spoilers, but Killa's won the runner-up table tonight, so that'll be interesting to see casted and put on YouTube in the next few days. So keep an eye out for that as well. I'm sure that was also a great game.
Is Killa still ranked #1, or at least in the top 5?
I believe so. And he just barely didn't make it to the final table here tonight. So, I can't say I'm very surprised that he won there. But we'll just have to go check out that VOD when it gets posted in the coming days and see how he made that run.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have anything else, Concordia?
I think that's pretty much it. I think it's been a great league. It's been a lot of fun to cast with you most nights. And I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to our next tournament. We have some stuff that'll be coming up. I know the mods have to finalize our plans and get that going, but we definitely will have more events for you in the future. So stay tuned for more BattlePoker.
Yep, and if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe, give us a follow, do all the fun stuff. You've got the stuff over on YouTube, which we'll be updating. So make sure you like and subscribe, make sure you give a follow on Twitch, help support the channel, keep it popular, all the usual jazz for that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll be signing off. We'll see you again next time, and thanks for tuning in for the BattlePoker Summer League.